Welcome to the Urban Cowgirl Show. Well, we're going to get a SIR single and some drive lines in our other room, but here it is. Here is the elevator bridle and bit on Eve's head. It causes no discomfort whatsoever. It is a broken snaffle in the mouth. It has a chin strap, which can be easily changed to a leather chin strap. It's a very simple device, but if you need that extra pull for a stop, it does provide it for you. So we're showing you just a couple minutes here of fitting and using. She's got nice conformation. Okay, slide your hand down and zigzag, zigzag. With the drive lines, you know what I mean. Give, take, right, left, until her head comes down. All right, let's go again. This is a great exercise here on a rainy day.
Steady, up.
Now Katie's just joining up. We did do it with lead line and then we removed the lead line. You fade away, Katie. And timing is everything, so if she's not stopping right away, you immediately zigzag and slide your hand down if you have to do more pressure. She feels it on her mouth. You had to pull? Yeah, okay, we're gonna do it until you don't have to pull, and then we'll stop. That'll be our note of resolution. We want her to respond to the cue, the verbal cue of ho, and not have to use the reins.
Steady, up. Good girl.
Good girl, good girl. Oh, she rooted a little bit. You see, okay, keep going.
Step up. You do step up.
Okay, we've got an arm extension here if you need it. Okay, backer. You know, back is a good exercise no matter what you're doing. Okay, next time you hoe her, backer.
Okay. Steady, up. Back.
Nice. Back. She's rooting when she feels it. Okay, back.
Back. Up. Steady. Easy.
No, this isn't the time to go easy. This is the time to demand what you want. No?
Steady, up.
First you gently ask, and then you request, and then you demand. Good. Okay, now let her move out again.
Step up.
She knows those cues. Okay, stop.
Steady, up.
Good. Back her up. Ask for her back.
Back.
She's trying to get away from it. Okay.
Back.
Okay, and ho. Good. All right. We're going to do a whole lot more of this. We'll probably show you some of the sessions on video to show progress or lack of progress and any other tricks of training that we want to use. Her posture's good. That's the way she started. Now hoe her.
Steady, up. Good girl.
Good. And now I would say we'll call that our note of resolution. We know the things we still have to work on. And that's all for today. Sonia Sokolow, the Urban Cowgirl, and Firecrest Easter Eve, learning to give us a good stop. All right, we are practicing with Eve with various bridles today to start, step up, stop, G and ha. We're trying to make sure that Eve will honor the stop command. We have to stay behind her when she doesn't stop right away. Now slide your hand down, pull hard, zigzag. Okay, this first bridle that we're using today out here on a sunny day in the pasture is not even a bit. It is a side pull, which is great for side movement, but not usually so good for stopping. But what we're trying to do is find something that will get Eve to stop consistently, but not encourage her to root her mouth. We got so that no matter what we did, what we tried, she was rooting, like trying to pull away from the bit. And that's a bad habit to get away from. And Craig Cameron says in one of his recent shows. Just try a bunch of different bits, and every once in a while change bits and bridles and make sure they're responsive, but give them a break. And so that's what we're doing today.
Oh.
Ooh, good. It's looking good. I haven't seen her root. The other thing we're going to be doing in the next week or two, this is holiday time, so we don't have full team available, is we're going to continue to work with Sadie on having a feeling of something on her back leg. We're going to try to keep that something, whether it be a tug strap, an arm extension, whatever, between her hock and the bottom of her hip. That's where we feel is the safest.
Oh. Good girl, Eve.
Yeah, very nice. We're getting good response. Now, what is this in relation to pairs driving? Well, Eve has her idiosyncrasies, Sadie has hers, and yet we want them to be a pair and to drive in parallel at the same speed. So right now, this is like our 6th show about this, so we may have 16, we don't know. Right now, we're just working with Eve and Sadie individually to deal with their idiosyncrasies. Ooh, I like that. She likes that side pull. It's a rawhide noseband and nothing in the mouth.
Steady. Oh. Very good.
Very nice. You know, I brought 2 other bridles, but I kind of don't want to mess up a good thing, but I'll show you the bridles. Here's one that has a shank, and I hope you can see it. Let me make sure that you're seeing the bridle, the bit, the shank, etc. The donuts are there to keep a horse from trying to grab onto the shanks. That's a curved shank. And this one has a shank, but it's a straight shank. And what do the shanks do? Well, if you hook to the rings of the shanks, you're getting leverage. But you know, even though that might give us a stop, it also might cause rooting. See if you can just urge her on a little bit. So we're going to go a little bit faster now. Speed sometimes introduces other problems. Yeah, you're just going to cluck a little bit. We don't want to trot, but we do want to be able to pick up speed on the walk. I love her body language. I haven't seen her throw up her head or root one bit. That is so perfect that I'm going to recommend that you come back towards the camera, try to get another perfect stop, and then tell us from the point of view of being the driveline controller and knowing Eve the way you do, what you think about using this side pull for pairs driving.
Oh, very good. She's doing great.
She's doing great? Okay, you didn't feel stress?
No.
Or, you know, experience something that we didn't see?
And she wasn't pulling against the...
She wasn't pulling. Now she thinks, well, wait a minute, shouldn't I be moving? Now, back her up a little bit. Let's see if we can get a good back.
Back, back, oh. Back, back.
Zigzag, that's it. That's it.
Back.
Yeah, she's licking her lips, but she's not rooting.
Oh. Oh. Good girl, Eve.
I'd like to go out one more time, come back towards the camera, stop where you're comfortable, and try a back. I'm hoping we'll have our note of resolution not only on stop, but on back today with the side pull on Firecrest Easter Eve. And then, of course, the challenge is to do it with Sadie next to her and see if we get speed control, because Eve walks a lot faster than Sadie.
Steady. Oh.
Beautiful.
Back. 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 Back.
I would say let's take it while we've got it. Good. Perfect.
Excellent.
All right. I'm glad to have shown you the right answers today. Well, here's our next session with Sadie, my youngster. We drove her around with a single pair of drive lines in her pasture here, and it is a cold, almost windy day. We're getting some rain in, so we're happy that she was real good about just driving along with the drive lines. But now we're going to do it with a lead line. And what is it? Well, we're working with Eve and Sadie on their individual pet peeves. Sadie's individual pet peeve is feeling things between her hips and her hocks, especially on the back legs. So with repetition, we're going to try to desensitize her to that feeling. We noticed the other day that we could use a skinnier PVC than our simulated harness poles. So I've got this piece of electrical conduit. And I'm leaving the camera here. We're not going to do anything that we think is unsafe. But we are one tiny baby step at a time with repetition, going for desensitization of a training harness pole or tug strap that might very well be touching Sadie when she drives in pairs. All of this is leading to driving in pairs. And we've tried a number of different ways to desensitize her. There's only 2 of us today. This is a holiday season. It's hard to get a big team together. We'll see if this way is going to help us. And this way is this. We've got a couple of vinyl portable panels. You can see Sadie is standing in front of the one in front of her nose. And as I walk towards her, I'm going to pull the one back here by her tail to be coming out at a 90 degree from the shed wall. And we hope that the shed wall will help us to keep her from dancing around, and we can slowly desensitize her. So here we go. Hello, Sadie. You're a good girl. You're a very good girl, Sadie. We're gonna bring this. She sees me doing. That's all right, Sadie. You see how she's walking away. All right, come on over to this one, Angela. Let's deal. See, she's just she's a youngster. She's a little bit spooky about these things. Good. It's all right. Now I'm gonna show her that this is just. It's all right. It's all right. Let her investigate. It's all right. Good girl. Touch her on the front leg. So far, so good. Go in the position as if it were a harness pole. Good girl. If Eve were right here, this harness pole, the simulated harness pole, would be between them. Good girl. I'm going to touch her. Now, here's where there's going to be maybe a little bit of concern. I'll touch her on there. Yeah, she's shaking her legs. What is that? It's all right. We need to get her confidence. Good girl. Sadie. Good girl. Now I'm going to put it down a little bit. It's a different spooky object when it's down on the ground. I'm going to bring it up. That's okay. Let her investigate again. Yes, and she is investigating. Good girl, Sadie. What I like so far is her 4 legs are standing still. I'm not at all confident that as I get closer to her back legs that we will still get 4 legs standing still. So we're going to let her move out here and then turn her around and bring her back. She's going to eventually realize with repetition that I might as well just stand still because they just make me work if I don't. It's all right. It's all right. It's all right. It's all right. Okay, Sadie. She's starting to move. It looks like she's going to do some moving. She's watching with her left eyeball. It's all right. It's all right. It's all right. Okay, it's all right. Take it easy, Sadie. Take it easy, Sadie. Touched her. She flinched. Touch her again. She's flinching it off as if it were a fly. It's all right. Let her investigate again. Good. Good. Good girl. Looks like she's about to move, so I'm not going to try to touch her now. I'm just going to leave it here as if it were a harness pole. It's all right. It's all right. Okay, walk her out and bring her back in. Sometimes it's good to just let them move. Whoa. Good girl. Good girl. Bring it down to harness pole height again. Walk towards her very slowly without any threatening motion. Investigating again. It's all right. It's all right. It's all right. Now these plastic panels are not going to keep her from pushing on them, but they are a visual block. So I'm hoping, without feeling claustrophobic, that she'll say, oh, I might as well just stand here. I can't go forward. I can't go backward. I can't go to the right. And the spooky object here is to my left. So I might as well just stand here. And of course, I'm staying out of strike zone here in case she tries to kick up. Eventually, what I want to do is make sure I can touch her. Let me show you where. Right about here, below her hip, above her hock. Because that's where I want my training harness pole and my fork cart harness pole to be located when we do drive in pairs and get some farming work done here. It's all right. It's all right. Good, Sadie. Good. Easy now. All right, walk out again. Come back in. We're going to keep these panels hanging right here on tool hangers so that we can do this with repetition easily. Good girl, that's close enough. Want to walk up as if this was a training harness pole. Good girl. Good girl. Good girl. Good girl. Good girl. Now I'm going to try to touch her on her back leg. She might move, Angela. It's all right. That's all right. It's all right. It's all right. Yeah, she's moving away from it. It's almost like she understood. It's all right. And you know now what I'm going to do? I'm going to put it down on the ground here. Actually, I'm going to let her investigate. And here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to be big. I'm going to say, you know, here we are. We got all kinds of stuff, but, you know, she lets us touch her. We groom her every day. I'm just going to be big here on her hip. I'm going to morph my way down her hip. Past the britchin. That's all right. Good girl. So she's allowing my fingers to touch her there. She's just not sure yet about this simulated harness pole, which is just a piece of, I think it's 1/2-inch conduit. It's all right. It's all right. All righty. Good girl. Good girl. Bring it back up. Good girl. And you know, it's always hard to say what's that moment of resolution. I don't want to, I'd love to, but I don't want to spook her by touching her on her hip with this. She accepted me touching her on her hip down to her hocks with my hand. So next time, we'll do that again. And then, you know what, I'll bring a smaller piece so that it can be in my hand after I've touched her with my fingers, touch her with the small piece of 1/2-inch conduit. And she'll say, oh, okay, that's all right. I'm pretty sure she will. And then we'll work our way up to not a piece of half-inch conduit, not a piece of 1-inch white PVC, but ultimately that 2-inch black ABS, which is part of our homemade training harness pole. And I'm just gonna point to it, which means this is kind of a different monster right now. It's up high, that black ABS. And she's looking, that's fine. Let her smell. All my horses have done a lot of obstacles work here at Shadrack Farms. We know how to approach retreat, how to give them confidence. We're just using this as yet another obstacle. And that's all for today. Go ahead, Angela, you can take her back. And I'm happy with our progress today. I was really happy with our progress with Eve's stop that we worked on individually with her in our last session. And we're just, especially during this holiday season when we're kind of light on helpers, we're just going to be doing a lot of repetition of all of these things. And if there's something new to show you that we hadn't shown you before, we'll turn the camera on. Here's our next session, once again in the square pen, because today's a rainy day. We took various pieces of tack and set up what we're hoping will help us in the near future to continue to desensitize Sadie to a simulated harness pole and then ultimately the harness pole. This is a short piece of 1/2 inch or 3/4 inch PVC. I'm going to walk up to the side of her body and show you how we want to do this on another day when it's not so cold, not so rainy, and we have more team members around in case there's some spooking going on. But here's the plan. It's all right. It's all right. Now, Sadie's still getting used to things like this. See, she's investigating. That's okay. The plan will be this. Not just to approach her with this simulated harness pole, but to let her move with it, which is ultimately what she's going to be doing with our homemade training harness pole and then with our real harness pole that will be attached to our forecarb. What we're going to do for training purposes and desensitization purposes, I'm going to just start it now. Let's see if she objects. I've got a loop here. I'm going to put it through. Can always pull it out if she objects tremendously. So far, she seems okay. And Angela, if you see her start to do spooky things or get rigid in her neck or whatever, just let me know. We'll pull it right out. And here's another loop. Wait, I'm going to make that loop a little bigger. It's got a buckle. Is she okay? Yep. Okay. Because I really want to be able to pull out quickly if there's a problem.
She's looking relaxed.
And now watch, this is all adjustable. You see where this simulated training harness pole would touch if it starts going back and forth as we move. It will touch right here above her hocks, below her hip. Whoa, I just touched it. Did you see her? She jerked a little bit. Yes, she said, what is that back there? That's my sensitive area. That's my no-no place. That's what some of the natural horsemanship trainers are calling these very sensitive places, the no-no place. You just work with them with repetition until it's no longer a no-no place. So do you see, if we have a third person, and even if we have Eve next to her to give her some confidence, because Eve is her mom and doesn't mind things like this. There we go. We can walk around, and depending upon how she's behaving, let it touch her no-no places. And then if we get really a lot of stress, body language stress, out it comes. As long as we have a person whose main job will be to take this spooky object away until we're safe. Then we put it back. You don't want to remove the pressure when the wrong answer is being given. Nevertheless, the most important aspect of this kind of training is safety for everybody involved. Sadie, the handlers, the cameraman. So on this rainy day, we decided here in the shelter of our covered square pen to actually set this up with all of these miscellaneous pieces of equipment. Some straps, a nylon surcingle, a leather breechin, and this is actually just like a dog collar. It's a chin strap for a bridle. Something, and this is just a piece of soft rope connected to a clasp. I'm going to go in again because I'm glad that she didn't complain. It's all right. She's checking it out behind me. Put it in through this loop. And of course these loops are adjustable so that you can make it higher or lower. I'm moving it back and forth so she feels the breechin move and so forth. She doesn't seem to mind being touched on the shoulder today. Maybe we're making progress, or maybe it's because her focus is different. When we were just trying to touch her with this simulated harness pole of all sizes, higher, bigger diameter, smaller diameter, with clasp, without clasp, her focus was on this thing that she didn't quite understand. What we want to do is get her focus on her job, the task at hand, which is to walk forward, parallel with her very confident mother, Eve, and not be spooked by feelings such as this. And we feel that that's a better way to approach this training for Sadie's pairs training and her individual problem of being concerned about feelings, especially in her back legs above her hocks. We feel that's a better way to provide repetition. As long as we have enough team members, as long as we've designed all of the straps and tack and so forth so it doesn't make her uncomfortable. Whoa! See how she lifted her leg? That's what we want to avoid. Training harness poles, if the horse lifts their leg over them in the process of being driven or pulling, it can be very dangerous. And if you'll watch a couple of my past shows, I gave you a story on the shows of a sled pair that definitely had a very dangerous accident. An experienced pair of horses, but one of them put their leg over the harness pole in the snow with the sled, and luckily nobody was killed, but there was a lot of serious spooking and some serious injuries as a result of that particular wreck. See more at www.urbancowgirlchannel.com.